Good morning. It is a privilege to join you today at the 13th OpenTESOL International Hybrid Conference 2025. In this presentation, I will explore an increasingly relevant topic in the context of technology and equity in language education. The title of my study is Perceptions of High School Gifted Students on the Role of ChatGPT in Enhancing Their Writing Ability. But first, let me briefly introduce about myself. I am Hoang, a student from Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, High School for the Gifted. In addition, this research was conducted in collaboration with my mentor, Mr. Cong Thanh from Ho Chi Minh City Open University. So for the outline of my presentation, I'll start with a brief introduction and the purpose of the study. Then I'll go over key points from the literature review. Next, I'll explain the research methodology used. After that, I will share the main findings and discussion. Finally, I'll end with the conclusions and some recommendations. AI, especially ChatGPT, short for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, is becoming more common in education, particularly in language learning. Many students are now using it to brainstorm ideas, refine their language, and build more complex sentence structures, which in turn boosts their writing confidence. At Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City High School for the Gifted, students have started engaging actively with ChatGPT. While most existing research tends to focus on teachers' perspectives, there's a noticeable gap when it comes to hearing from students themselves. That's where this study comes in. Our goal is to explore how students perceive ChatGPT's role in enhancing their writing skills and confidence. So why does this matter? Well, since current research mostly centers on how teachers view AI, we are missing a key voice, the students. Understanding their attitudes is crucial because it directly influences how they engage with AI tools in real learning contexts. This study addresses that gap, offering a student-centered perspective that can help educators and policymakers better integrate AI in writing instruction. It also touches on broader issues like fair access to technology and how AI might support learner independence in developing stronger writing skills. This study is designed to offer insights into these research questions. First, how does ChatGPT assist high school students in their writing process? Second, what changes to students' attitude and confidence towards writing are made? Next up, we got what are the perceived drawbacks when students rely on ChatGPT in writing? And lastly, should schools and teachers encourage the use of ChatGPT in writing among high school students? The next part is the literature review. So we got a study from Polakova and Ivans. Overall, we can see the positive impact of ChatGPT feedback on all AFL students' writing skills, from conciseness, inclusion of key information, to grammar and word use. Particularly, students' use of passive voice in their writing improved most significantly, from 58 to 70 after ChatGPT feedback. The majority of students expressed positive perceptions and attitudes towards using ChatGPT for writing, finding it helpful in improving their writing skills. They appreciated the detailed feedback and its role in promoting self-directed learning and collaborative environments. A few students reported poor feedback, but overall, the tool was seen as valuable for personalized writing support and enhancing engagement and confidence in writing. Next, we got a study from Cong in 2023. So the paper reports significant improvements in writing skills and motivation among students who received AI-assisted instruction compared to those in the control group. The experimental group showed enhanced proficiency in various writing aspects, such as organization, coherence, grammar, and vocabulary, statistical analysis, indicates significant differences between the experimental and control groups in overall writing proficiency, content, organization, language use, and motivation. The tables provide detailed statistical data supporting these improvements, including mean scores and effect sizes. The improvements are quantified with specific mean scores and effect sizes, indicating a substantial gains in writing skills and motivation. Here's another study from 2024 regarding the effects of ChatGPT-generated feedback on Saudi EFL learners. So students reported high mean scores for how ChatGPT helped with specific writing skills, topic sentences, supporting sentences, concluding sentences, and grammar, indicating a positive perception of its effectiveness. Secondly, the ease of use and immediate feedback were highly appreciated by students, with high mean scores for these aspects. And lastly, students found the experience with ChatGPT to be amazing and enjoyable, and it fostered their independence in learning. Despite the aforementioned benefits of using ChatGPT, there were also negative perceptions, such as some students finding ChatGPT's corrections unrealistic or disagreeing with its suggestions. Next, the preference for ChatGPT over human instructors was lower, indicating that while students valued ChatGPT, they still preferred human feedback. The perceived accuracy of ChatGPT's feedback was also mixed, with some students expressing concerns about its reliability. Next up, let's discuss the findings of the study Enhancing English as a Foreign Language Learners Writing with ChatGPT, a university-level course design in 2024. So, students highlighted several ways ChatGPT enhanced their writing process. It provided immediate feedback and content ideas, making the work more efficient. It also helped improve organization by guiding them to structure ideas more logically. Many viewed it as a reliable alternative to peer reviewers, offering objective and critical input. They spent less time on research and content planning, maintained consistency, and showed noticeable improvements in overall writing quality. We also have a study titled The Role of ChatGPT in English as a Foreign Language Learning and Teaching, a systematic review from 2024. So, ChatGPT brings multiple benefits to EFL learners. It supports overall language development, including speaking, listening, reading, grammar, and vocabulary, with a strong emphasis on writing. It also boosts student motivation and engagement, promotes autonomy, and tailors learning to individual needs. Students expressed both positive and negative views. On the positive side, they valued the convenience, instant feedback, and personalized support for writing. However, concerns included over-reliance on the tool, occasional technical or accuracy issues, and ethical risks like academic dishonesty or reduced learning effort. Building on previous studies, our research takes a student-centered approach. To explore students' own experiences with ChatGPT, we employed a convenience sampling method. We distributed a Google form to students at Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, High School for the Gifted, gathering responses from 122 participants across different grade levels and academic tracks. All responses were submitted voluntarily. Coming to the research procedure, to collect the data, we used a structured online survey featuring a Likert scale items ranging from 1 to 5 and 1 to 10. This allowed us to measure students' perceptions and usage habits related to ChatGPT in their writing tasks. The data was analyzed using descriptive statistics via IBM SPSS, helping us identify trends and patterns in student attitudes and behaviors. After gathering all the data, let's discuss our findings. So the first item asks students to self-assess their familiarity with ChatGPT on a scale from 1 to 10. Responses showed a high overall familiarity with a mean score of 7.76 and standard deviation of 1.686, indicating that most students are well acquainted with the tool. The lowest reported familiarity score was 3, while the highest was 10, suggesting some variation in user experience. The second item measured the frequency in which students use ChatGPT specifically for English writing tasks, rated on a 1 to 5 Likert scale. The mean response was 3.40 and standard deviation of 1.081, suggesting a moderate but consistent level of usage. This implies that while students are generally familiar with ChatGPT, the application of the tool for writing purposes varies, with many using it regularly, though not extensively. To explore how ChatGPT assists high school students in their writing process, we've come up with 5 items for them to assess. The first one is using ChatGPT helps me come up with more good ideas when writing. The second one is using ChatGPT helps me learn good sentence structures. The third one is using ChatGPT helps me learn how to use words in interesting and new ways. The fourth one is using ChatGPT helps me expand my vocabulary naturally and accurately. The fifth one is using ChatGPT helps me structure my writing in a logical and organized way. So after evaluation for reliability and descriptive insights, the internal consistency of the scale was strong, as indicated by a convex alpha of 0.830, suggesting that the items consistently measure the same underlying construct. Descriptive statistics revealed generally positive perceptions among students. The item using ChatGPT helped me come up with more good ideas when writing received the highest mean score of 3.79 and a standard deviation of 0.911, indicating that idea generation was the most recognized benefit. In contrast, the lowest mean was reported for the item regarding vocabulary expansion of 3.27, suggesting more neutral views on this aspect. The other items related to sentence structures, language use, creativity, and writing organization also had relatively favorable mean scores, all of both 3.5. These findings suggest that students generally perceive ChatGPT as a helpful tool in various aspects of their writing process, especially in the idea development and organization. To better explore the changes in students' attitudes and confidence toward writing when using ChatGPT, 4 survey items were examined, including using ChatGPT helps me save time in developing ideas, finding vocabulary and sentence structures. ChatGPT's suggestions on language use help me feel more confident when writing in English. Using ChatGPT for English writing activities makes me feel more interested in improving my writing skills. Using ChatGPT for English writing activities helps me become more active and engaged in learning to write English. Initially, the reliability of the 4 items was below the conventional threshold, with a convex alpha of 0.670. Additionally, due to the item B.3.1 having lower consistency with the rest of the scale and the weakest corrected item total correlation of 0.294 and would have improved the reliability to 0.7 if removed, we excluded the item. The internal consistency of the scale improved to a convex alpha of 0.700. The final 3 items, B.3.2, B.3.3, and B.3.4, demonstrated acceptable internal consistency and were therefore retained for further analysis. Descriptive statistics indicate that students generally responded positively. Item B.3.2, which assessed whether ChatGPT improved students' confidence in writing, recorded the highest average score of mean equals to 3.57, suggesting that learners felt more assured in their language use with AI support. The items related to motivation and engagement, which is B.3.3 and B.3.4, also showed moderate agreement among students. indicating a generally favorable perception of ChatGPT's roles in boosting their interest and participation in English writing tasks. To examine students' perceptions of the drawbacks associated with using ChatGPT in English writing activities, 4 items using ChatGPT for English writing activities limits my creative thinking ability. Using ChatGPT for English writing activities reduces my initiative in checking spelling. Using ChatGPT for English writing activities reduces my initiative in selecting vocabulary that fits the content and topic. And using ChatGPT for English writing activities reduces my initiative in checking grammar mistakes were used. After analyzing, the internal consistency of the scale was acceptable, with a convex alpha of 0.794, indicating a satisfactory level of reliability. The corrected item total correlations ranged from 0.553 to 0.665, further confirming that all items contributed meaningfully to the overall construct. Additionally, no single item significantly improved the reliability if deleted, as seen in the convex if item deleted values, which range from 0.712 to 0.767, all lower than the overall alpha. Thus, all items were retained for further analysis. In terms of descriptive statistics, participants exhibited moderate agreement with the potential limitations of ChatGPT. The mean scores for the 4 items ranged from 3.23 to 3.36, with item B.4.4 reduces my initiative in checking grammar mistakes, receiving the highest mean of 3.36 and the standard deviation of 0.980. The remaining items, including concerns about creative thinking, spelling initiative, and vocabulary selection, all displayed similar levels of agreement, suggesting a consistent perception of reduced personal initiative due to reliance on ChatGPT. Overall, the results indicate that students are moderately aware of the potential drawbacks in the writing autonomy when using AI tools. To explore whether schools and English teachers should encourage the use of ChatGPT in English writing activities, we got 3 items for this. So first, it is necessary for students to use ChatGPT for English writing activities. Secondly, schools and English teachers should encourage students to use ChatGPT for English writing activities. And lastly, schools and English teachers should provide specific guidelines on how to use ChatGPT for English writing activities without violating academic integrity. The reliability analysis for the 3 survey items related to research question number 4 is shown, yielded a convex alpha of 0.698 and a convex alpha based on standardized items of 0.694. These values indicate an acceptable level of internal consistency for this scale. Examining the convex alpha if item deleted results, it is noticeable that removing items C.3 would increase the alpha substantially to 0.807, suggesting that C.3 contributes somewhat less to the overall scale reliability compared to C.1 and C.2. However, despite the increase in reliability if C.3 were excluded, the decision was made to retain this item in the scale. This choice reflects the importance of C.3, which addresses the critical issue of providing specific guidelines on using ChatGPT without violating academic integrity, a key concern for educators and institutions. Therefore, its inclusion ensures that the survey captures these essential nuances, even if it slightly lowers internal consistency. Descriptive statistics for the 3 items show moderate agreement overall, with means of 3.37 from C.1, 3.20 from C.2, and 3.94 from C.3 on a 5-point Likert scale. The relatively higher mean for C.3 suggests that participants particularly value the provision of clear guidelines on ethical ChatGPT use. The standard deviations indicate reasonable variability in responses, with no extreme consensus or disagreement. These trends are reinforced by rich qualitative insights. So the item being assessed here is, please share your experience in using ChatGPT for English writing activities. So students frequently described ChatGPT as a tool that elevates their writing to advanced level C1 to C2, supports grammar and vocabulary learning, and offers feedback that makes their writing more fluent and structured. Many noted it as a reliable source of inspiration, helping them understand different writing styles and language nuances not commonly found in their usual environments. Furthermore, several students shared how ChatGPT boosts their confidence in IELTS preparation and academic writing. However, consistent with the findings under research question number 3, some participants expressed concerns about over-reliance. Criticisms of ChatGPT's semantic accuracy and occasional vagueness in the content also surfaced, underscoring the importance of critical engagement rather than blind trust in the tool. A few students admitted to using ChatGPT against teacher instructions, suggesting that clearer school policies and ethical guidelines are urgently needed, an insight that strongly supports research question number 4's emphasis on the necessity of proper guidance. In conclusion, students at Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City High School for the Gifted generally perceive ChatGPT as a valuable support tool for enhancing their English writing skills. Many reported feeling more confident and engaged in the writing process thanks to ChatGPT's instant feedback and idea generation. However, the study also revealed notable concerns, including potential over-reliance, reduced initiative, and issues of accuracy and academic integrity. To address these, students emphasized the importance of having clear guidelines from teachers and schools to ensure ChatGPT is used responsibly and effectively in learning. Thank you for your attention. I'd be happy to receive your feedback in the YouTube comment section. The current study can be interpreted as the first step in the research on perceptions of students from Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City High School for the Gifted. However, the results of this study should be treated with caution due to the convenience sampling and the lack of details regarding the participants' characteristics. Future research could further examine the specialization of students, for example, English specialized or non-English specialized class, each student's background of the English language and types of tests in which the writing skill is tested. It could also contribute to a deeper understanding of the measurements suitable for analyzing the perceptions of students. These are the references that I had used in my study. Thank you.